Happy New Day. And have a very good Sunday morning. I'm here today to discuss with us a very controversial topic. The title of today's lesson sermon is The Existence of Two Powers. Is it a reality or an illusion? The existence of two powers. Is it real or is it just an illusion? Is there another entity which is in opposition to God? Is this a misconception or a wrong perception of the forces of nature? By misconception, I mean a view or opinion that is incorrect because it is based on false thinking or understanding. Wrong perception or misconception means wrong or incorrect interpretation of reality, information, or a situation. Let us not confuse these two things. Misconception and misperception or wrong perception. They are two different things. Good. In all religions, the supremacy of one entity or deity, which we refer to in English language as God, as the creator and maintainer of all, is acknowledged. All religions acknowledge that God is the supreme creator and maintainer of all. Despite this acknowledgement, there is still the belief in the existence of another entity which challenges God, even among the followers of the religions which proclaim the supremacy of God. Why is this so? In one breath, we say that God is the Almighty. In another breath, we say he has somebody who is also Almighty opposing him. It is important as students on the path that we understand the true nature of God, life, and ourselves. Ignorance of this is the reason for the confusion of who or what we are, our nature and capability as co-creators or the replica of the Creator. No progress on the spiritual path is possible if we are ignorant of our true nature. There is order in the universe. It is so because there is balance. And balance can be achieved if and only if two opposing forces are in equilibrium. Throughout creation, there are mainly two forces at work. These two forces are the characteristics of the one God. they are not in opposition to God. In nature, we have positive and negative, male and female, good and evil, and so on. These two forces make possible creation. They bring about order that is found in nature. When balance and order is disturbed, changes occur to restore the balance. At times, these changes can be destructive and painful. This man is not isolated from nature. Therefore, these forces are fully operating in man. And they should not be viewed as powers. So let me give the definition of power, what powers are and what forces are, so that we understand it well. Powers are conscious, intelligent, and often personalized beings or entities that wield influence, whereas forces are impersonal energies or currents that flow according to spiritual laws. Let me say it again. Powers are conscious, intelligent, and often personalized beings or entities that wield influence, whereas forces are impersonal energies or currents that flow according to spiritual laws. Okay. Depending on our actions or inactions, these forces are either in balance or out of balance within us. When they are in balance, we are at peace with ourselves and the world around us. When they are out of balance, of course, necessary changes occur to restore the status quo, that is the balance, back to normal. The change process can either be pleasant or painful, depending on our perception. Do not forget that whatever is happening around us in our circumstances is a reflection of what is happening within us. We actually reflect the condition that exists within us into our world. So when we are confused within, whatever is around us externally also becomes troublesome for us. Okay. These forces operate in our minds. The mind is actually the headquarters of those two forces. Whatever way the mind perceives events, that way determines your experience or our experience. Shakespeare said in Hamlet, and I quote, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. There's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so, unquote. So whatever we perceive and believe becomes so in our life. These forces are not actually in opposition. The female, male, positive, negative, good, evil, they are not in opposition. They are complementary. Therefore, must be seen as such. The error or the mistake is that we assume them to be powers. And this is a misconception. Maybe with a little explanation of these verses in Genesis, we can see the true light of things and relate it to our everyday life. In Genesis 2, from chapter 15 to the end and to part of chapter 3, we were told that when God created man, he put him in a garden with instruction that you should dress the garden and keep it. And that man could eat anything. But there's one thing that man should not eat. In verse 17, he said, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. When God put man into the garden, he gave them specific instructions. He said, cultivate the garden, dress it, and keep it. After these instructions, God realized that man is lonely. Immediately after the instruction, God realized that man is lonely. Realizing that man is lonely, he has made the rest of creation, all animals, to pass before Adam, for Adam to name them. And whatever name Adam gives unto those became so. After Adam has named the things, then Eve came into the scene. Let us look at it carefully now. The Old Testament has been translated from very, very old language. Most of them are symbolic. They use symbols to express whatever it is. But the New Testament was a recent, in 2,000 years after the Old Testament came into being. So they use symbols to explain a whole lot of things in the Old Testament. When we talk of garden in the Old Testament, we mean the mind, heart, and consciousness, pure states of consciousness. So God made man and put him in the garden. In other words, at that time, man has a pure mind, a state of high consciousness. And he was told to dress it. To dress means to cultivate. Cultivate good virtues, such as love, patience, humility, faith, wisdom. It also means constantly refining your thoughts through meditation and study of nature of life or consciousness. After that, he also has to keep it. How do you keep? The virtues you have developed, we need to guard them against negative thoughts, temptations, and the destructive habits. It also means to maintain vigilance against fear and ego. So, keep the garden, dress it, cultivate the garden, dress it, and keep it. In other words, keep your mind always with positive thoughts, without judging. And then we were told that another instruction has been given of a particular tree. Do not eat of it. Again, in the Old Testament, being old language with symbols. When we talk of tree, we mean the human body. In Ghana is what? Bomocho. Nipadua. In Akan. In Ewe. Amachi. Three. They are in it, we all sing three. It says you should not eat of that tree. To eat something is to believe. You also have it in our language. Hemo kenyele. Jidi. Right? You take it and you eat it. Huesa. Take it and assimilate it. So, in other words, God said that anything that is coming from within you, because you are confused, because you are in trouble, do not believe it as good or bad. So, of the tree of life, of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, do not eat of it. For the day that you eat, you shall die. And death in the Bible mostly means ignorance. To be blind to the truth. Spiritually blind and confused when they talk of death. Okay. So, you see in the garden, the mind, we cultivated it, we dress it neatly, and we keep it. And we are not supposed to eat of the tree. All the above drama was happening within Adam, within man. Adam was experiencing conflict with his inner self. Let us not believe that this has happened long ago, because it is still happening in our everyday life. This drama keeps playing all the time in our life. Are we not always faced with situations where we need to make choices, when we need to take hard decisions? If you think this thing has happened long ago, it's no longer happening here, then you are deceiving yourself. We are making the choices. So, we were told that God brought to Adam the rest of creation for Adam to name it. In other words, Adam has started naming and classifying events around him. He started seeing bad, and he will name it, this is bad, this is good. This is a threat to me. There is shortage here. So Adam started naming things. Then desire grew within Adam. He wanted to protect himself, he wanted to take everything that he thinks is lacking. Greed. So the desire to acquire things and protect what he perceived to be in short supply became a constant companion to Adam, man. And so they say what? And Eve was created for Adam, and Adam said, "This is flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone, and she shall be called Eve." In other words, desire was born into man, has become part of man, and they said what? And the man shall leave his house, and he is the woman, or Eve, they will go and stay outside. So wherever Adam goes, Eve goes. So wherever man goes, desire follows. We start getting things. We were told that God came looking for Adam. I said earlier that all this thing that is happening is not happening outside Adam. It is happening within Adam. So Adam sat down and was reflecting of his life. He is doing self-reflection, was asking himself candid questions. What is happening to me? What is my status in consciousness? Realizing that he has messed up, when the truth dawned on him, he started hiding from the truth. He realized that he perceived himself to be exposed to danger all around him. And the voice, the small voice, that is the voice of God, that we often hear when we sit quietly in our meditation, came to him asking, "Adam, why are you hiding? Where are you?" That voice is the truth that Adam was hiding from. The "where are you" that he was asking himself, what is his position in the scheme of things as a human being? What is his mental status? Where is he in consciousness? How do you feel? How does he feel? And then he saw that he's exposed. So he said what? He's naked. To be naked means to be exposed without protection. So he is hiding from the truth. He needs to find things to protect himself. So man still want to give excuses, which is normal. You all do it. Say, what happened? Say, the woman you gave me. Typical of man, eh? You always want to blame somebody. So the desire, say, my desire for things has brought me this far. His perception, man's perception is clouded. He's no longer seeing things in their true nature. He has become spiritually blind, illusioned. He can only see with the material eyes. If spirit is the basis of everything, and you are spiritually blind, your judgment will be based on wrong perceptions. So, Adam, instead of looking for solution within, started looking outwards for solutions. He has completely left the garden. He's no longer in that state of consciousness where he can look within himself and then resolve problems. He has left the garden. God sacked him straight away. Is that not it? From the garden. Can you relate to these things? That in everyday thing that we do in our lives, this drama that I've just talked about, in our everyday life, we are faced with things that are happening around us, and then we start labeling them. I don't like this person. Don't like this situation. Oh, this is good for me. I lack this, I lack that. But there's no lack in God's consciousness. So there is an illusion somewhere. The drama is still playing, and we need to change the narrative. We need to change the narrative. We have to stop being Adam and become a human being into which the breath of life was breathed, and then we became a living being. These forces that I was talking about, due to illusion, create conflict within us. This inner conflict, we project them outwards, and it becomes our daily experiences. And in order to make sense of these experiences, the experiences that we go through, we begin to assume and believe in two powers that are at war with each other. God versus Satan. But we said earlier that God is almighty. There's no other power besides him. So we are deluded. There's only one power at play, and that is God. To God, there's nothing like good or evil. To God, they are just tools. The world is God. Therefore, to experience the reality of event, you need to see with God's eye. And that is the spiritual eye. What some people call the third eye. Until then, our understanding and interpretation will be based on wrong perception. So we need to see with God's eye. We need to see with the spiritual eye. Then, our intuition is sharpened. Our decisions are on point. We don't judge that this is good or this is bad. How do we go about it? We need to meditate constantly. We need to study the nature of consciousness and surrender to God. When we practice these things, our intuitional ability is sharpened, and our choices will always be the right ones. The belief of two powers is the greater delusion of man, the result of all sufferings. Namaste.